I'm not sure if I'll ever get sick of winning, but I do know that I am definitely sick of whining. There's a lot of people who are kind of in the Trump sphere who are whiners. They're complaining about various things that they want to see happening that either appear not to be happening or aren't happening at the pace they want them to. First, in general terms, we're dealing with trying to alter trend lines that have been in motion longer than Trump has been alive. Second, despite a very big shakeup in the government personnel, we are still dealing with a very vast workforce that has a built in hostility to the changes that are being attempted. Third, just because Congress is majority GOP doesn't mean a single one of them back the full agenda. Leftist hysteria aside, Trump is not a dictator, nor does he have superpower mind control. Now, this means everything is transactional. In order to get things done, lots of different people have to be negotiated with. Every member of Congress who makes up the needed majority to pass anything has to be addressed separately. What will they do willingly? What will this one person do for a price? What will that congressperson do if they have a price? Is it an acceptable price? Because they have a price doesn't mean it's one you want to pay. What are things that they won't do at all? Now, when you basically think about how you have to go through several hundred transactions to come up with a result, well, you shouldn't be shocked when you see the big, beautiful bill. If you have any idea at all how DC works, you shouldn't be surprised at all because the budget has to pass the Senate with 60 votes. Anyone acting shocked by the way this is playing out is either ignorant or lying. The key to this is going to occur in the rescission process. This is where Trump puts in requests for cuts and Congress can pass them with a simple majority. We should take back every penny we can. Even then, though, there's probably not going to be a near enough consensus to make these cuts fiscally meaningful. In other words, don't expect a massive drop in spending, but I'm still hopeful. Uh, Definitely don't expect a balanced budget anytime soon. Don't expect the debt to be paid down in a meaningful way, at least not for some time. However, one thing people need to understand is it's not the fiscal side of this that will make or break this so called revolution. In all honesty, the more important cuts must fall on the various critical NGOs and oddball bureaus that most of us don't even know exist. At this point, if we were offered $1 trillion in first year spending cuts or $100 billion in cuts to the critical NGOs, unfortunately, the smart money is that you should take the $100 billion cut to the critical NGOs. These NGOs and other governmental organizations imperil the future of any changes. If the NGOs are left alone, any changes that occur during this administration are basically in complete danger of being undone in the future. Then there's the judicial process that people are whining about. I can literally go on X and see the same person demanding thousands of pardons, hundreds of former government officials perp walked, every state and local official who's currently resisting arrested, the end of terrorism, a falling crime rate, and millions of illegals deported. Oh, and they want it now. Again, it's June. Okay, the first problem is the investigatory stage of a criminal action. Consider for a moment what happened to Trump leading up to the election. He was indicted. Many of these charges were rushed in order to meet a deadline of shutting down his campaign. Even when these cases went before very accommodating courts, most failed outright or were dragged out until they became invalid due to the election. The Trump indictments ran over a 10 to 14 month period. And as I may end up repeating over and over again, it's June. The administration is barely 6 months in on this. If they go after some big name and they go too quick, they risk blowing the indictment. How stupid and humiliating it would be to go after one of the big names that people keep throwing out there and just have them out on the court steps pointing and laughing because some prosecutor rushed the process and they didn't even get it to stick. Also, keep in mind that some of the things that are bothering you have probably already passed the statute of limitations. If someone didn't actually get killed, or there isn't actually a sack of money visible somewhere, statute of limitations on a lot of these white collar crimes are short. You have to remember there's limited resources at the Justice Department. They have to prioritize who they'll go after. In most cases, ongoing events are more important than past events. If somebody is blocking the movement forward of things that are trying to get done in terms of uh, blocking administrative maneuvers, do we really want to just let them ride so we can get somebody uh, who committed a crime in the past? Now, I'm not saying blow them off. I'm saying you have to look at it realistically and understand there's priorities. Should some ongoing groomer be ignored to pursue an unlikely case against Clinton? Should we back off in deporting gang members to get Fauci on some procedural trash that results in no jail time? Then you got to consider the results or potential results. Most white collar crimes, especially the ones related to politics, Congress writes the laws. Most of these laws, if they're violated, are punished by fairly limited fines. So if you have to choose, do you go after Hillary for a procedural crime that results in a $10,000 fine? Or do you go after Clapper and put him in jail? These are things that they're probably working out now. I'm not thrilled with the priority or the speed of things. But adults can't make a Christmas wish list and then demand. They have to be pragmatists. Now, the Elon Trump feud broke out today, and that's a whole lot of whining too. And really, I'm not planning on commenting much on this other than the fact that people are jumping in all over the place because part of this revolves around the so called big beautiful bill. Smart money sits on the sidelines until some of this plays out. I can guarantee you much of the chatter that we're hearing right now is meaningless. It's not it's not worth risking your reputation to try to be an early adopter and be the guy who says, "Oh, I was the first on this one charge that someone threw out." So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is there is so much that has to be done, and you complaining and whining that it's not happening in the way you want it to, um, you're a silly child. If there's something that really means something to you, instead of going out on X and whining, try to convince people that your item should be a higher priority. Get people behind you so the chatter is, hey, we see all the things you're trying to do out there, and we think this thing should be in the top 10 as well. But please stop the whining. All right, in the comments, are you following any of this on X or other places? Do you feel the same way I do that there's essentially a major wine fest going on out there? And also, are you willing to go out on a limb and make a prediction on what's happening here between Elon and Trump? Smash the like button. If the YouTube algorithms brought you here and you're not a regular subscriber, check out my other titles. I can guarantee you're going to find something you like. It's worth subscribing to. And also, if you know someone who might find this interesting, share it with them. Thank you for spending time with me this evening. Hope to see you again in a future video.